I'm going to show you how you can pass your UK theory driving test so you can save time and effort, and we are going to start this video right now. So welcome back to my channel. My name is David Akung, and this is video number 2 in my gift to new drivers playlist. So this is a playlist that dedicated to every new or potential driver. So basically, if you have not watched my previous video yet, I will basically link it above, or you can basically check the description for the first video. So before I start, I would like to briefly explain how the learner driving experience works in the UK, because I know there's some people who may not know how the whole process works. So I'm going to help you. So if you already know this information, please skip to this timestamp over here. So in the UK, before being able to legally drive, but there's literally onus on the word legally, there's something you would have to do 3 things. The first thing is that firstly you would have to apply for something called a provisional license. If you do not know what a provisional license is, a provisional license is basically called a learner license I should say. It's basically a license that literally aids you do your lessons, go do your theory lessons, have your theory test, do your practical lessons, have your practical test. So that's what that license does. Then after you do that, the second thing you do is that you basically sit your theory test. And then the third thing is that you then have your practical test. So this video you are currently watching will center on the second part of that chain, which is basically passing your theory test. As you can see here, passing your theory test first time. The theory test is basically made up of 2 sections. So the first section is basically called MCQ, which is just basically multiple choice, and the second section is called hazard perception. So the first section is called multiple choice, and the second section is called hazard perception. So for the multiple choice, you basically have 50 questions, and you have to answer 43 correctly. So you can only miss 7. So 43 out of 50. And then the second section is hazard perception. For hazard perception, you have 7. You can score up to 75, and you must score at least 44. So you can pass. So anything greater than that, you've passed. So that's how children are grouped into. So for hazard perception, it's broken down into 14 clips. So this is broken down into 14 clips. And then 13 out of those clips are scored. You can basically have like 5 marks each. So if you know 13 by 5 is 65. And then one of the sections, so you have 14 clips, you have one clip is literally what's 10 marks. So you have one clip which is what's 10, and that gives you 75. So that's how the hazard perception things work. So the multiple choice will involve around things like road signs, speed limits, and things like that. And the hazard perception will basically show you a series of clips, okay? And then the way it works is that the sooner you see a hazard, or a developing hazard I should say, the faster you click. So the sooner you click, the more marks you get. The more time you waste like before clicking, the more marks you lose. So as I said before, this is how the marks are distributed. Okay, so basically, if you would like to know what I personally got when I start this test, please leave your comments in the comment section below, and I will tell you what I personally got. So on to the good stuff right now. So to pass your theory first time, I'll give out 3 tips, and if you adhere to each one of these tips, and when I mean adhere, if you listen to it and you do it, I can basically guarantee you that you will pass. And if you do not, like literally listen to me, if you do not, I can also show you how you can get your money back. Like, think of it. So tip number 1, basically, book your test date. And to be honest, the reason why I'm saying this is because it makes so much sense when you have like an end goal in mind. Like, I personally find it so much easier if I know, okay, I have a test on this date and I can literally work towards that date. I may be different, but just go with me for this. What you can do is that first you just go on the gov.uk website and then basically book your theory test date. And if you're confused about what date to book, I would say book 1 month from today. So today, this is basically September, so this day in October. Like if you're watching this video, or if you're watching this in 3 years, book it 1 month from whenever you're watching. So the thing you can do now is, if there are no available dates, what you can then do is that you can then look for the closest dates, because if you can't book it 1 month from now, there's not really much you can do. But second tip for you is basically know your road signs. Like I'm just gonna say, know your stuff. I.e., know your road signs. So I'm just gonna help you here. So signs with the triangle basically refer to a warning sign. For example, this is like, let's say you're driving and you see a triangular sign that basically says, okay, this is the end of the dual carriage lane. You can basically know that, okay, you have two lanes and these two lanes are going to merge into one. So you can then, you can then pick. You can either go ahead, go off somewhere else, things like that. You can also have like signs where they'll be like, oh yeah, zebra crossings ahead, or wild animals are ahead, something. Trust me, there's even a sign like that, to be honest. I'll find it and I'll literally put it here because I don't know why I saw it, but I know there's a sign like that. And then moving on, if you see a sign with a blue circle around it, it will mostly give you like a positive message. So they'll be like, okay, turn left here, or you can have two lanes that can basically take you to the same direction, that kind of thing. Yeah. And if you have like signs with like a circular, or if you have, okay, let's say you have like a circle with like a red background, that basically tells you things which you must not do, and if you do it, you can be prosecuted for this. If you know, you know. Okay, so basically, real talk now. They tell you things which you must not do. For example, take a U-turn in the middle of the road, and just think of it. People actually do these things, you know. Imagine like you're on. I'm just gonna put like a little video here. Imagine like you're on this type of road, and someone just decides to do like a U-turn, just dip it. So all of those things. So I can also say like if you remember these things, these three things will help you so much. Basically, because you would have like so many types of questions would basically center around these basic points. I would also put some links below in the description if you need more help, or if you need more help in terms of road signs, so make sure you check that out. And then on to my last tip, which is tip number 3. For this tip, I will advise you to bring out your phones, go to your app store or go to your Play Store if you have an Android, and then basically download this app called Theory 4-in-1. And this app basically costs £5, and this is me speaking. Like, this is literally the only app on the Apple Store that I've actually given a review. Like, out of all the apps I've used, this is actually the only one I've given a review, so they actually say something. And if you think of it, the cost, I think it costs £4.99, and that's basically £5. And if you think of it, a normal test costs £23, and this test just costs just £5. Just £5 is fine. And the good thing about this app is that if you fail, which I doubt anyone would, if you fail this app, they are basically willing to give you your money back if you meet certain conditions. So there are basically some conditions that you would have to do to meet them. The conditions are the app in general basically comprises of 4 parts. I only use 2 of them, so I'm not going to speak about the other 2 parts. The first part I use is the theory test part, which is the multiple choice one, and then the second one I also use is the hazard perception. So for the mock test feature, I would say like you would have like different questions, and this basically shadows how the real test basically is. So for the real test, as I said earlier, you would have 50 questions. You would have to answer 43 correctly to pass, and you would have to answer at least 43 correctly to pass. So this is how the real test also works. So what you can do is that you can basically do like mock test after mock test, because the good thing that one thing you notice is that every single time you fail a question, it will basically come back to you on another mock test. So let's say if I do this test and I fail 20, those 20 questions I failed will be on my next mock test. So you will get them later on, because in addition to you failing it, the answers will also be there. So moving on, in total there are basically 730 questions. And if you think of it, if you answer 730 of these questions, if you go to the test, there's no how, or there will be no way that any of the questions will be new. So just have that in mind. So out of my experience, I would say that I answered all of them. So I wasn't doing like all of the questions. I just did mock test after mock test after mock test. And when I was sure that I was getting like 48 or 47 out of 50 every single time, I knew I was very confident when I went to do my test. So on to the hazard perception part. As I said previously, it's a similar thing. So basically the way it works is that you have series of clips, as I'm sure you can see here. So basically when you see a hazard, you tap, the minute you see a hazard, tap on the screen. The earlier you tap it, the more marks you get. The more time you waste the more marks you lose. So for most of the clips, you can either get up to 5 marks. One clip you can get 10 marks. So that clip has 2 hazards. So you have 13 clips which have 1 hazard, and you would have the last clip. It can be the first clip, but you would have 1 clip which would have 2 hazards and will cost 10 marks. And for me personally, one thing I noticed that during my test, it was literally the clip that had two hazards. I literally clicked one too many times, and I literally scored 0 for that entire clip. So you can just think of it. So if you want to know more about my personal journey, like in terms of me going through my entire theory journey, please let me know below, and I will also do a video for that. So yeah, so just have that in mind. Don't click one too many times. The moment you see a hazard approaching or a hazard developing, click once and then wait for like a second, click again, and then if you're not really sure, click again, but don't do it too many times. Okay, so yeah, so guys, thank you guys for watching the video. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below, and if I have time, or if I believe I can help you, I should say, I will get in touch with you. If there's something I can't personally handle, I will signpost it to where I'm sure you can get the relevant information from. So if you would like to see more new driver related content, please let me know. If this is the first video you're watching, please have a look at my gift to new drivers playlist, which is linked above, so you can watch more of this type of videos. I would also like to give a massive shout out to one of my very good friends. Her name is Justice. She literally helped me set up this entire setting, so shout out Justice wherever you are. I will link her channel above. So yeah, so thank you guys so much, and thank you guys for watching Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys. I get up, I get up, can't deny it. I get up,